Hi everyone, Ali Akbarian, your resident road safety expert from Mobility Engineering, back again with another Q&A. Thank you very much for sending in those questions. We love them, keep them coming. And as we always say with the trusty subscribe flag, hit the button that looks like that thing down there somewhere. We'd love your support to get to that 10,000 subscriber mark, and then we'll get something even more impressive than that. Okay, so let's get on to today's question. So today's question is going to show you something over here, and then we're going to cut and show you something somewhere else, because the question covers a whole bunch of devices. So the question is, how much twist is okay in my straps? Now, when we talk about straps, what they're talking about is the context of wheelchair tie downs, but also the context of top tether points in baby seats. So the question that came around, we actually had two questions, so I'm sort of answering it in one because it's the same thing. It was, how much twist am I allowed to have on these tie down points? And then someone also asked us, how much twist are we allowed to have on the top strap of a baby seat? So I'm going to talk about this, and I'm going to talk about the baby seat in the next part of the video, because it's actually the exact same answer. So the answer is, how much twist should I have? I'm going to give you a two kind of level answer. The ideal situation I want to achieve is no twist, right? So that's ideal. So ideal is no twist. So if I was to look over here, you can see how I've got this set up. I've got it with no twist, a nice straight strap, right? However, sometimes with some situations, you might have a wheelchair tie down point that's in a quirky location, a wheelchair. Things just might not work in the exact way that they're supposed to, and they're not 100% straight. So you might end up putting everything on thinking it's straight, and then you take a look back and you go, oh, that's got a bit of a twist on it, and I think that might or might not be okay. And often when it comes to like security straps, belts and things like that, there's a lot of, commonly in my experience of doing this for 20 plus years, there is a bit of stress around like, oh, I don't want to have twists in my straps, it's dangerous and so on. So we thought we'd kind of give you a little bit of a synopsis of how that all works and what's okay and what's not. So if you look at this belt here, it's got a half twist in it, but it's still okay. So the reason why it's okay is because the belt is still kind of pretty much following a straightish line. It hasn't started to fold on itself, and so it's not going to get any weakness or any kind of damage onto it. However, I'm going to take this same belt and I'm going to flip it one more time and show you what's not okay. So if I was to take this belt off, and let's say if I gave it another twist and then I put it in to my wheelchair tie down point like that. Now what you can see here is that the belt has actually sort of started to fold over on itself, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take it off and show you what that problem is right now. So, and why that's a problem. So, when we have a belt like this, once it twists like that, it's okay. But once it goes a little bit further, what happens is, if you see very closely, those two edges there, they start hitting each other. It sort of starts folding in on itself over here, right? So in a car that's driving around, if you actually look in some of your cars, you might have a gauge that's got the speedo, and you've got another gauge which says RPM. RPM is what stands for revolutions per minute. So that might be like 3,000 revolutions a minute, right? It might say 3,000, 4,000. Now, that RPM is vibrating your car. So technically, you can, let's say if I've got a 3,000 RPM going on my vehicle is potentially vibrating 3,000 times a minute, right? So think about I drive this thing around for 60 minutes. So 60 minutes on this thing, or let's say, to make the maths a bit easier, 30 minutes on this thing, and we have that times 3,000. So that means this edge is going to rub and vibrate against the other edge in that 30-minute trip 90,000 times, right? So that means that this thing, after quite a few trips, like not actually that many trips, you'll start to see it wearing away at itself, and it'll get weak, and if there's an accident, it can start to tear. So that's why we don't want to have any twist, because we don't want it to twist in on itself and start hitting those vibrations, because like I said, on a 30-minute trip, driving around, 2,500, 3,000 RPM, you're going to have up to 90,000 vibrations in the car in that entire time, right? So that's quite a lot of movement going on in a 30-minute period. So because of that, we definitely don't want to have the twist twisting on itself. If we have kind of a half twist and the edges don't touch, we're okay. It's only if we get a full twist and the edges touch. So that's how that looks on a wheelchair tie down, but the same thing happens on baby seats. So we're going to show you on the baby seats around the corner. Okay, so we're back again and we have just walked around the corner to our child seat sort of demonstration table or rig. And we've got this set up and I'm going to show you what we mean with baby seats. So the exact same phenomenon and the same question always comes up when we have the top strap on child restraints, disability restraints, so we're talking things like your carrot seats and all that stuff, and even standard child seats. So they all have a kind of a standard system, which is this top tether. And they typically come around the sides like that, right? And I'm going to show you how they work so you can see what we're talking about. So if I just run them along their sides like that, coming out of the box like so, what you'll see is the belt, the path of the belt goes like this, then it comes down like that, and then it goes around and to the side. So the belt is connected to the side of the seats like that, and then it goes through a hook like that. So that means the belt goes that way, and then it comes back that way. So what does that mean? That means it actually has to twist in order to go through. So what that means is this particular child seat, when you put them in rearward facing, they automatically have a twist in them. So we do a lot of like training and consulting, and we get a lot of people kind of stressing themselves out when they see this, and they're like, oh, I can't get rid of the twist, I keep flipping this around, and the twist then goes over there, I don't know what to do. There's nothing you can do because they have a half twist in it because of the design. So you see this goes in like that, it has to twist in order to go back around, right? So it's the element of design in these particular things. So you know how I told you in the earlier section that you can't have that roping? It's the exact same thing. You can't have it twisting on itself. So once again, if I was to straighten this up, a little tip, what I do with these is I grab them, straighten them up like that, and I pull the twist out like so, and then you'll find you just flip it, and then it automatically pulls that twist out, right? So that's just how these things work. Now, I want to show you what is not okay. What is not okay is if I twist it, and then I twist it again, then I twist it again. Baby seats are a little bit more forgiving because you can see it's not folding in on itself, but now it folded in on itself, right? So that took 3 twists for it to fold in on itself. The wheelchair tie down took 2 twists, right? So a little bit more forgiving on the twists, but still, we just want to, like we said, we want to minimize them, but if we do have one and it's not hitting itself and folding over on itself, then we don't need to worry too much about it. It's going to be safe. So you just hook this on like that, and just to demonstrate to you how that would adjust and have the look when it's all tied up. So I'm just adjusting that forward like that. As you can see, we have that half twist like that, then goes around the back, comes over to the side here, and then we just adjust that with the adjuster. And then once again, see, there's another half twist there, right? So this has to move in this direction in order for it to go down and up and around, right? So it's just the nature of the design. If you were going to spend time trying to get rid of that twist, you're going to be there for a very long time. So a half twist, as long as it's not hitting on itself and causing itself damage, no dramas. But we can't have any full twists where it's holding on itself and folding itself, because as you saw, there's thousands of revolutions and then thousands of vibrations a minute, and those things can wear away very quickly in that case. So this was a little bit more in-depth and longer Q&A, so thank you for the patience and tuning in. But it was important to kind of break all of that down, and we give you the answer of, now we've got the answer of, is a twist okay in a top tether strap or in a tie-down strap, and we know the parameters around that and what's okay and what's not. So again, thanks for tuning in. Hit the button down there somewhere. Help us get to that 10,000 mark, and we'll see you next time.